Excellency Prime Minister Prayut, thank you very much for this wonderful hospitality. And as I've said on repeated occasions, whenever you visit Malaysia, we will try our best to reciprocate, but we cannot compete with the splendid hospitality of the Thai royal government. So thank you again. We have had exchanges on a variety of issues, and I wouldn't repeat what Prime Minister Prayut have just alluded to, but I am fortunate to have him as a partner in Thailand with his colleagues that share so many common views on a number of bilateral and international issues. First, of course, we have to speak on behalf of both countries in terms of securing a lasting peace. And there have been a number of minor skirmishes in the south. Now, I come here with a very clear, categorical message that the government of Malaysia will not condone any sort of violence to resolve any conflict. We will exercise our right as friends, as family members within both countries, Malaysia and Thailand, and ASEAN, to express our concern, our legitimate concerns, whilst acknowledging that South Thailand is purely an internal issue within Thailand. But it is our duty as good neighbors and family to do whatever is required and necessary to facilitate the process. And that is why we agree to appoint an acceptable facilitator from a retired chief of our armed forces, who is known to Prime Minister, to try and work and find ways that we can assist or be of assistance. I am personally also known to many colleagues in the South, and I think it is my duty to ensure that there is a resolution to this trust deficit, that is concerns on the issue of religion, culture, and language will be addressed. And more than that, which Prime Minister Prayut has agreed and repeatedly stressed the importance of development in this region. Whether it's going to be bilateral or sub-regional, it has to be pursued and accelerated. And I think through investments, trade, and development, I am very optimistic that we can resolve this. It is unfortunate because these small skirmishes have led to a lot of tension, some sort of resentment and distrust. So we'll have to appeal to all forces, both in Thailand and in the South, or even some in Malaysia, to understand and appreciate that peace must be of paramount consideration. And we will understand that as Malaysia, as a multi-racial, multi-religious country, we have to then ensure and impress upon our friends, both sides of the border, to do our utmost to resolve this. I know I've taken time even with in the private meeting and the meeting with the ministers with Prime Minister General Prayut to keep on reiterating this point, because I want to start with some element of trust between us. And only through this we can try and resolve these outstanding problems. I've heard a lot of expressions of concern from our friends in the South, and I have sought the permission of Prime Minister Prayut to allow me to also express some of these concerns through peaceful means and peaceful resolution. And it's up to the committees, various committees, border committee, the joint development committee, the joint border committee, I'm sorry, and the facilitator to work together with their Thai counterpart with the sign of trust and having very frank discussions. The Prime Minister realized just now that our session was not an ordinary diplomatic session. I joked with him that ordinary diplomatic session, you leave it to the both foreign ministers. But for a more serious, frank exchange, then we have done it, and I must thank you profoundly that you have allowed this, and you have also reciprocated in terms of having these exchanges. Of course, priority remains economy and development and trade-related issues, including border development, but more so both bilateral countries. I have said that in some ways we have excelled in rubber, palm oil in the past, but in terms of food security, the Thais have gone far ahead. Yep. In terms of digitalization, development of their energy, and RE, they have gone far ahead. And thanks to you and the authorities here, you have that focus, which I intend to share your experience, and you've been kind enough to suggest that we enhance this sort of collaboration, not only in terms of limited to JDS, but in terms of bilateral trade and investments between the two countries. We also discussed some of the more contentious issues with Myanmar, and I frankly appeal to the Prime Minister, although Thailand has its own peculiar problems in dealing with the borders, which is not the same problem that we face. But in Malaysia, we face is close to 200,000 refugees. And there's very little we can do except to continue this so-called constructive engagement with the Myanmar junta. So, but I think you are placed, Prime Minister, in a better position to express many of our concerns that the issue, the internal issue in Myanmar has to be resolved internally, but where it has its ramifications or repercussions into the region, particularly in Malaysia, the highest number of Burmese refugees is unfortunately in Malaysia. And there is a limit what we can do as a small country on humanitarian concerns. We do address them, but we will, of course, suggest that ASEAN takes a coherent, concerted action together as a region, as a regional body. I've discussed this, as I've told Prime Minister Prayut with President Jokowi and Premier Sien Loong, but I realize I'm a junior player in this game, and you are more senior, so I suggest that we do more effectively to try and at least reduce if we are not able to resolve. Because if we do not reduce, then we will have to share or shoulder the burden that we cannot or no longer able to do. So let me then again thank you and remind you again, Prime Minister, that it is time for you to come and visit Malaysia. 3 years is a long time, yep. And except for the COVID year, I come to Thailand every year. So thank you very much again for the wonderful hospitality, and I look forward to enhance bilateral relations with Thailand. Thank you.
Thank you.